Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of Let's Talk About It. I am your host, the DiDi Skky, DiDi Skky, and I am so glad that you are with us tonight. But I could not start my show without my co-host. I call him the voice of God, the man behind the meme. Give it up for Major.
DiDi, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, DiDi, I am excited. I can't believe we're here on episode 9.
Already.
Holy smokes.
Time is flying by, and then, I guess it's what they say when you're having fun, and we're definitely having a lot of fun, right?
I'm having more fun than anyone should have behind a computer screen with a microphone. Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I love you so much, man. It's so not fair.
Yeah.
It's so not fair that you can be behind a meme and say anything and nobody will be able to come for you. They wouldn't know who to come for.
It's very strategic. Very, very strategic, DiDi.
You're just gonna put me out there.
Well, somebody's got to be out there, DiDi, and you have it better than I do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I've been good. I've been great, actually. Okay. All is well. But things aren't going so well for Carly Russell.
DiDi, I don't even want to get into it. Honestly, I am appalled. I am disturbed.
Well, we're going to talk about that in our new segment, I Hate the Net, but not right now, after our special guest. But tonight's show is brought to you by Whisk by Gino.
Discover your new addiction with Whisk by Gino. Luxury makeup brushes by celebrity makeup artist Gino Freeman. This line of pristine makeup wands are tried and tested for a perfect blend. Engineered with a unique combination of natural and synthetic fibers to create an ultimate set of brushes that are soft to touch and durable for all application processes. The order includes a set of 10 brushes and a leather traveling case. To make a purchase, visit whiskbygeno.com. That's WHISKEDBYGENO.com. Add luxury to your makeup kit with Whisk by Gino.
Okay, that's dope. DiDi, let me ask you.
Yes.
I got to ask you because I'm looking at you and you look put together, girl. You look put together. Did you by any chance use those brushes to put that look on today?
No other than Whisk by Gino. The brushes are absolutely everything that he professes. They are easy gliding. The makeup goes on perfectly. But yeah, I have my set right here. So
okay, I gotta tell you, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna drop something here, and I just want to put it out there. So I have a daughter, and ever since my daughter was little, she liked to put makeup on my face, right? And so I don't mind that. I let her do. I mean, I go full blown makeup. I'm not gonna lie to you, DiDi. I let my daughter do whatever she wants, except for like lashes. We don't do no lashes because I don't do the lashes. No, I don't do no lashes. But what I will say is, while she was putting that makeup on, afterwards there was all kind of little bristles all over my face.
Right. So that means that the brushes are not very well constructed, and it's probably the types of hair that is used. And so that's why your daughter, how old is she now?
She's 13 going on 40.
13. 13 going on 40.
Yeah.
That's a little young, but if you use Whisk by Gino, you won't have to worry about those bristles being left on your face. So I'm gonna go ahead and touch myself up real quick since we're talking about it to knock off some of that shine. But yeah, get you some Whisk by Gino and you will be good to go. Major.
Right.
Also this week, my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated welcomed 7 new honorary members who were inducted into the sorority during the 56th annual National Convention.
Wow, that's crazy.
Let me tell you who they were. Ambassador Bonnie Young, Ambassador Bonnie D. Jenkins, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, former BET CEO, media mogul Deborah Lee. I'm so excited about that. CEO of Warner Brothers, Channing Dungey, president of MSNBC, Rashida Jones, and former WNBA star Tamika Catchings, and also entrepreneur Phyllis Newsome. So when I tell you I am beyond super excited because, of course, we are fully loaded with women in the media and some very influential ladies. So it warms my heart. Welcome to our distinguished sisterhood, ladies. Yes. Oh. I got to give a shout out. That's right. That's right. So listen, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you are following us right now, you're watching the show live here on our YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe. So very important because we have some awesome shows lined up for you. And we have bonus shows that you don't want to miss out on. So make sure that you get that notification as well. And if you're watching on our Facebook channel, don't do it right now because you don't want to miss this episode. Not nan piece of it. Not nan. I'm gonna make up some stuff, but not nan piece of this episode. You don't want to miss it. So if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead after the show is over to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. It's very, very important.
That's what's up. And they can honestly, DiDi, they can take it a step further because if I'm not mistaken, the Let's Talk About It podcast with DiDi Skky is also available if you're in the car driving and you need to catch us on any of your streaming services so you can listen while we're working. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Odyssey, YouTube Music, and Castbox.
Yes, absolutely. You can catch us all there. Like you said, if you're driving in the car, if you're at work and you don't have no business watching YouTube, you can listen to us there. Oh my goodness. This show tonight is near and dear to my heart. Why? Because our guest tonight is not only my childhood friend, but my lifelong, very long time friend. So I am super excited. He is a diversity and inclusion executive, trans rights advocate, radio co-host and analyst, motivational speaker, reality show cast member, fashion image and brand marketing consultant, and as I mentioned, my childhood friend. Please welcome to the show, Nick Devereux.
Yo.
Family.
Yo, what an introduction. What is going on? D to the I to the D to the I. What's up, sis? How are you?
I am wonderful. And as I mentioned, this show is very near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about our history, of course, and talk about your life. I mean, the boldness of your life, courageousness of your life. And so I'm beyond excited. I've never, you know me. So, but I've been in the industry for over 2 decades and I've never interviewed my best friend or a dear friend. I've never done that. So I'm gonna hold it together. I'm not gonna get emotional and stuff.
Well, I feel honored. I feel honored. Thank you so much. And you know how I feel about you from a long time.
Absolutely.
Very long
Absolutely. Absolutely. A long time. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in. And now listen, the audience can chime in. This conversation is absolutely for you. You know, we're going to go in. I'm going to ask my questions, but you can absolutely ask your questions, post your concerns. We want to hear from you. So let's hop right in, Nick. When you were growing up, of course, in my family, in my household, my parents had what goes on in our household stays in our household, right? But tell us about your childhood. Tell us how things were in your home.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's probably, I would think most Black homes, we grew up that way. But just a little bit about my backstory. My mom had me really early at 15, which means that I was raised by my grandparents. My mom had always been in my life. She just had me at a young age, and my grandmother and grandfather were controlling. So I was their baby, and that was it. That's all. So being raised by my grandparents, it's kind of the old school. We're old school Baptists, and we follow those rules. You know, what happens in our house, stay in our house. As long as you respect yourself, I really don't care, you know, what's done type of situation, but nothing out of the norm. You know, we went to church, we followed rules. We woke up on Saturday morning, we did chores, you know. I don't know. I do feel like I was a little bit privileged because I got an opportunity as I was growing up. I can remember as far back to 6th grade having a car for the first time. You know, first person in the neighborhood.
You were a spoiled brat.
Who had a car. And by the way, for the audience who don't know, I'm an only child. So
that's what I was gonna say.
You know, I had the only child syndrome. So I cannot remember from 6th grade. Oh man. I can't remember from 6th grade all the way through college not having a vehicle. My grandparents spoiled me point blank, period. They were the best parents I could have ever had, man.
You had a car in the city. Did you pick me up? I can't remember.
That was a little bit. I rode through the neighborhood bumping with the music in the trunk, you know, the 212s and the tweeters in the back pumping.
That's right. That's right. And just to give our audience a little bit of the backstory, Nick and I are from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Throw them L's up. We are from Lauderdale, and specifically behind the swap shop. Okay. Nick grew up in Westwood, and I grew up in Larkdale, which were neighboring communities.
Literally, we could walk to each other's house in less than 10 minutes. For sure.
Exactly. Wait, and did we attend the same school, junior high school?
So this is what I don't think so. I think it was all neighborhood and church. You know,
exactly.
We was in neighborhood. You know, we played in the neighborhood from when we was little teeny boppers. So but no, I went to Lauderhill, Paul Turner.
Lauderhill, Paul Turner. That's right. And I went to Lauderhill.
Yep, and I went to Lauderhill Middle, and then of course BA.
Right. Okay. And so we went to Lauderhill Middle together. We did.
Lauderhill Middle. It was Lauderhill Middle.
Right.
Yeah.
So we attended junior high school together. Okay. So let's dive a little bit into the makings of Nick Devereux. Okay.
All right.
So now I've had the discussion on many occasions regarding being born with your sexuality. And I can remember back, you know, when I was like 6 and 7 and, you know, a little girl having a crush on my sister's friend, not her boyfriend, but his friend. I used to really love me some Cleve Striggles. I don't know why. So shouts out to Cleve Striggles. In elementary school, it was Chad Macy and so on and so on. Were you born this way?
Yeah, that's interesting. So, man, my story is so different. I think I was a late bloomer in the life. And what I mean by that is, as you know, I had a boyfriend throughout all of my junior and high school and midway to college. So there had to be something in me, and I'll tell you the story. is because you asked the question about being raised in a Black family and the way Black families
Right.
were raised. It was kind of one of those situations where we never talked about gays, lesbian, and lesbian surely didn't come up. The word for all of it together, the LGBTQIA was just gay, right? And the gayest person I knew during my childhood was the minister of music. That was it. That was the gayest it got. At the church, right? The minister of music at church. That was the gayest it got. And even with him being gay, Chris being gay, nobody ever talked about Chris being gay. We just happened, to know that Chris was gay, right? So it was one of those things that you don't talk about. You don't talk about those things. So anyway, I will tell you though, when I finally got to, I remember in middle school, Lauderhill Middle School, and I will not say any names, but following a particular girl home, taking a long route home. I had no idea why I followed her home. I literally just walked behind her to watch her walk into her house. I was enamored with her, and I was in the 6th and 7th grade. I could not connect. There was nothing that connect. I'll go a little bit further. Remember, we used to have. I had a phone in my room, a separate line in my room, and we used to call and play on the phone. Is your refrigerator plugged? Type of situation. So I had to get her phone number. And I used to call just to hear her say hello. She would say hello. I literally was a stalker. I really didn't realize it until I was.
Did you hang up when she said hello? You would hang up the phone.
Hang up. I let her say hello, and then she hung up. And then she would say, "Stop playing on my phone, please." And I did that. I did that so much. I'm almost embarrassed to say it, but the truth is the truth. And that leads me to. But even with that, I still was only interested in boys. There was nothing in me that made me in my psychological mind that connected sexuality. And I don't want to tell you the difference between those two things, but sexuality to a woman or a girl. I just knew, I didn't know what it was. Fast forward, about 8th grade is when I started dating this guy really seriously. DiDi, you know him. And all the way through college, we made it through college. It's funny that I say that because a lot of people who dated him know that basically he was you know what he was, right? But I really didn't care because we both came from influential families. He knew what it was. I knew what it was. And
he was my relative. Let's just say that. We're not going to name his name, but he was related to me. So that's how close Nick and I are.
Yeah, and he was my boyfriend from 8th grade until my junior year in college when I had my first experience. We had a few breaks in between, but I've named him because I want to talk about when I got to high school and was playing basketball. He was athletic, and the young lady that I married and I was with for 14, 15 years, they both went to the same school, Dillard High School. And we used to go to each other. We were rival schools, Board Anderson and Dillard. So she played volleyball. I played basketball. He played football. Anyway, I got an article out of the Sun Sentinel and cut out about him and his it was something he did within football. Her for volleyball. I cut both of them out. I literally put them in my locker next to each other. Lie to you not. I had both of them in my locker next to each other. All the while, he was my boyfriend. This other girl, I just had a crush. She was dark skinned. She was beautiful. I thought, oh my God, this is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life. And we're from Lauderdale, so let's be real. Gold teeth was a turn on for me, right?
Gold teeth, she had a nice little grill. She had a couple of teeth, gold teeth.
She really had top and bottom grilled gold teeth with rubies in her mouth.
She sure did.
Absolute turn on for me. But again, I didn't cross those waters even in high school. I didn't cross those waters in high school. It wasn't until I went to college in my junior year that I was approached by a female that I became a little inquisitive about what it was. And to fast track it a little bit, she chased me for probably a half a year. We ended up going, and I was very popular on the campus. I was a part of the SGA, student government. Bethune-Cookman. I mean, I was a part of the band. I was all the things that I was from a little kid all the way up. So I was one of the most popular people, right? So we went to this party. It was a lot of gay people there, guys and females. And she was like, yo, won't you come with me back to the house? We having an after party, yada, yada, yada. And long story short, after that party, I had my first lesbian experience. I've never been in college.
You're saying in college?
My junior year, my junior year in college, I had my very first lesbian experience. It was that night after that party. And I've never been indecisive. So at that moment, I knew that's what I like. And
really?
I knew that's what I like. And now I had a situation with, like I said, dating the guy that I've been dating forever. He was over at FAM. I was over at Cookman. We had each other keys, and we know what it was. It was just one of those teen loves that we just didn't care. We're going to do what we do, and as long as we don't get caught. But when I had that experience, lesbian experience, I immediately knew that guys was not it for me. And if I can be transparent and honest, I'll tell you this. Guys was never what it was. It was when it came to sex, okay? So I never enjoyed sex with guys. I don't know how explicit I can get, so I'll say this.
When you had sex the first time, you mean when you had sex the first time? Had you been with only, not being in your business like that, but had you been with like one guy and then that was just the experience and you were like, nah, I really don't care for
he wasn't the only guy. That's why I said we was
okay, so you had experienced men. You had experienced guys.
Well, I mean, would I really call it men back in our day? But we could say men. But in school, we had breaks. We had breaks, and when we had those breaks, I probably think, and throughout my high school, it probably was 2 or 3 guys that I experienced. And during that time, each one of them, I never ever enjoyed the sex. So oral was what I went for because guys like oral, and I can put them to sleep. I realized that I can put a Negro to sleep with my skill. Okay?
Wait a minute. Okay, back up now. Back it up. Back it up. Do not. Hold on. I need to pause because I'm going to ask some additional questions on that. Hold on just a second. Yep. Wait a minute. Okay, shouts out to Kim, Stephanie, Robin is in the house. She's here, of course, and she has a lot to say. Okay, so you're saying that, like Kim said, not to sleep. I need some lessons. That's exactly what I was thinking, Kim.
So let me help you. I think those skills, I don't know where they came from, but I had those skills. I'm proud of those skills because you know what those skills did for me? They prepared me for the journey of women, right? So, but what I said is, and just to kind of wrap that up with a bow, is that I did that because I did not like sex. So I did not like a guy stay on top of me, humping. I literally was like, please hurry up. And I certainly didn't like the last part of all that stuff being all over me. Yeah, it was that was a hard no for me. Yeah.
Hard no.
So when I learned that like if I put them to sleep, they only gonna pump a couple times and then they done. So that was it for me. So I learned real quick what to do to put a Negro to sleep and satisfy him. Okay.
Right.
Also, I want to tell you, I really never brag about my skills as it relates to women. I'll let them do that. But know that because of those skills, I learned to take care of the ladies that I've been involved with in my life.
How to satisfy your women. Now, let me ask you, okay, I got to go back a little bit. Because when we were growing up, like, we would say, like, that you were very kind of tomboyish. You were tomboyish kind of when we were growing up, though.
It wasn't even kind of tomboyish. And it's the hardest thing to understand. And that guy, which was my heart back, I had 2. That guy though, who was my heart. We went through a lot as kids, but I was a tomboy, and I always wonder what was it he liked about me. But I came to the realization that even under those clothes, and not it wasn't even about sex. I'm just saying under those clothes there was a heart, there was a personality. I think we just clicked with family, personality, and the fact that this, from what I hear, is that I was pretty. I was a pretty girl. I had long hair. was light skinned, I had eyes, so there was other dynamics about me that made him attracted to me, and probably one of the reasons why he does not like me very much now, because I'm in this new body and face. But yeah, I think that I mean, that was one of the ones that I cut my hair off in college. That was the first SGA gala I went to at Bethune-Cookman.
Yes. So what was the I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say that again.
No, I said so. Yeah, I was very tomboyish, but I think it was other elements of who I was what attracted guys to me.
Yes. So what was your experience with your family and the neighborhood when you started to realize, after you had gone to college and had realized that your preference was mainly women now? So what was the experience like at home, back with your family? How did your family feel about it in the neighborhood?
So it was funny. It was the summer between sophomore and junior year when I had the experience with the young lady, and I was headed home for the summer, and I think I was just visiting because I had an apartment up in Daytona, but I was going home for a weekend or something to visit. And when I walked in the house, my grandmother said, "So I received a call, and one of your friends told me that you're gay now, that you date women." So I was a little thrown. Later on, I found out it was my best friend. I found out it was my best friend and somebody I had pledged with, and who was my roommate for 3 years. And she was just really upset that I was now a lesbian, and I don't know what that was about still to this day. But that was the first introduction to my grandmother about me being, a lesbian, right? Yeah, you already know what it is. So
you already know.
You already know what it is. So yeah. So, but my grandmother, she loved her baby in any package that I came in. It was kind of to swallow at the beginning, but because I am always open, very transparent, I never lied to my mother, my grandmother, none of my family. So I immediately said, "Yep." I said, "Mama, sit down. Let's talk about it. I really do like girls. I really do like girls. And I couldn't tell you the whole conversation." And then she rubbed my head, and I laid in her lap, and she just said, "Whatever you do, remember, respect yourself first, respect others, and everybody don't have to know what your business is." That's kind of one of those unknown, unsaid things to say. Don't go out here telling everybody you gay. Type of
just keep what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Don't ask, don't tell. So, and then I took my mom to the park, because those were the only two people that I really, and when I said, my grandfather was still living at the time, he was so laid back. He's an Aquarius, so he's very introverted, and he was laid back. He saw clearly what it was, and he didn't talk about it. It didn't matter to me. Because my weight fluctuate throughout all my life. I was his quarterback. That's all he called me. Yeah, right. I took my mom to the park, and she had a hard time with it. She had a really hard time with it.
Really?
She had a really hard time with it. But eventually she got through it. Now you asked about family and neighborhood. I did not care about.
You didn't care about the Lockdale or Westwood.
Yeah, I ain't care about Westwood, Lockdale. I ain't care about Mount Bethel. I ain't care about nothing and nobody except Ruth and Mary. That's my grandmother and my mom. Once they were all right with it, or knew it, because they weren't all right at the very beginning. Once they knew from my mouth to theirs, it was a journey that we were going to take together. And both of them was willing to take it together, because neither one of them was willing to lose their kid.
Right. So let's go back to your time at Bethune-Cookman College, which is now Bethune-Cookman University, right? Let me say that correctly, because my sister Darlene is watching, and I'm sure she's saying something at the house, yelling at the TV. You did pledge the most amazing, devastating sorority.
I did.
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And so let me go back and give some reference to that. So when we went off to college, Nick at the time, who was Nicole, was like, DiDi, I'm gonna pledge Delta. And my sisters were like, okay, Nick gonna pledge, Nicole is gonna pledge Delta. She gonna be a Delta. Well, she became a Delta before I did. I was like, wait a minute. How did this happen? Because you pledged which year? 93? 93. Pledged 93 at Bethune-Cookman, which is Beta Alpha?
Delta Alpha.
Delta Alpha. And so I was super jealous because I was like, I don't know. And so, of course, my sister Robin was like, Nicole went and pledged way before you, Alabama State off the yard and all this stuff. Like, is it going to ever happen? And then I came along in 96 and pledged Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And so we had that bond as well. And so I remember when I saw you, of course, your life transitioned from there. You and Tanya got married, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So you finally hooked back up with your high school crush. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So it was one of those situations where we went. What was the club club next to Barnett Bank? 441 Crystals, I believe it was. Crystals.
Okay, Crystals. I was gonna say Brick House.
Maybe Brick House or Crystals, whichever one. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, it was one of those summers I came home and I got an opportunity. They had the male strippers. But because I was new to the life, if you would, I was there. I had my nails done. I had my hair done with freeze curls. And because I was going to a straight club, if you will, I dressed appropriately, if you will. I could remember having on, I would call them kitten heels, some little heels, little heels, jeans and a shirt, had my nails done, had my hair done. I think I may have even had on lipstick. And I walked in the club where everybody from the neighborhood was there. All my homies from the neighborhood was there. They were happy to see me, home from college. And then, I seen Tanya and I was like, dang, there go that dark-skinned chick, man. There she go. And my hands started getting warm. They were sweaty. I was nervous. And I remember I had a Heineken in my hand. I'm like, I know I'm over here looking like one more tomboy with kitten heels and lipstick on, right? And the guys was getting ready to come out the strip. And I was literally talking to myself. I said, go over there and talk to her. Tell her who you are and tell her you want your phone number. But this is a straight club. So if she look at you like you crazy, you get embarrassed quick because I'm very shy and I get embarrassed quick. Just walk straight out the door. Right. So I strategically set myself up where I saw her and I got up the nerve and I walked over to her and I was like, what's up, T? How you doing, Tanya? And she was like, hey, how are you? I said, so my name's Nicole. I said, I've been watching you for a minute and I'm just trying to figure out if I can get your phone number. And she flashed them damn teeth.
Flashed them goals.
Them goals. I was like, oh God, yes, this is it. But to my surprise, she said in a little bit of a whisper, because everybody know that Tanya was was undercover. It was not known that she, tittered on the other side. If you knew, you knew. If you didn't, you didn't. You just made the assumption. So she kind of leaned in and she was like, okay. She was like, okay. So I was nervous. So I said, listen, it's too many straight people in this club. I said, I'm gonna walk out the door, meet me on the side of the club. And I asked her where she parked. She said, I parked on the left. I said, meet me on the side of the club. What kind of car you drive? She told me. I said, I'll be standing by the car. Sure enough, 5 minutes later.
You had to strategically plan how you were going to exchange numbers.
We was in a straight club. This was in 94.
In the 90s?
We was in the strictly dickly phase where nobody talking about no gay stuff. I know that was my first time ever. Like I said, the first experience I had was a girl from Miami, but I was in Daytona. So yeah. And all the people in Fort Lauderdale knew both of us. We both was very popular. Nobody knew anything about me being a lesbian, even with me being a tomboy. They did not connect the two. It never was said. But it's funny, as crazy as it sounds, as tomboyish as I was, nobody ever asked me was I gay in my school, in my middle or high school rearing. It never came up. But yeah, she walked out the door. She came over, she gave me her phone number. I'll never forget, I had my granddaddy's big cell phone, the first block cell phone. Yeah. And I was kicking it with her. We had beepers, so we exchanged numbers. I had the phone, I called it, beeped her, so she'll have my number or whatever. And I'm gonna just tell you like this: the next day, she didn't call, I didn't call. I was nervous. This was my first time out the gate. I was a baby lesbian. I didn't know how to do this and what they expect. So I was laying across my grandmother's bed, and the next day she beeped my beeper, and I thought I was in heaven. I was in heaven. I called back and we talked. She worked at the flea market at the time. She told me where she worked at. I went out to the flea market. I saw her. She told me her address to her house, and I can just tell you, the first time I went to her house was 2 days later, and for 14 years later,
that's right.
That's how the story ended.
That is right. That's so true, guys. I mean,
we shared kids. She had a 2.5-month-old Bree, and she had a son, D'Angelo, 8. They are now my babies. I raised them from those, like I said, for the next 14 plus years. So
14 years, yeah. But you guys moved to DC, right? And then you came to Atlanta?
No, we moved straight to Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 98. And so June of 98, I moved, and Tanya came up because the kids were still in school. She came up 4 months after me, once the kids got out of school.
Were you guys legally married?
So no. So back then, we got married in 2000. We were together for the longest before we got married. We got married in 2007. So in 2007, we got married, but it was a domestic partnership. And here's one of the things that I always say to people. Then I'm happy that it's legal now, even though I don't necessarily, as a trans guy, I don't fall in that category anymore. And if you want to know, I'll tell you what I mean by that. But I felt, and I believe at the time she felt that commitment that we made before the Lord, we were good. We were good with the domestic partnership, and domestic partnership, because all the things long before we ever said I do, in a church in front of our family and friends, we had insurance policies together. I carried the kids on my insurance. We had bank accounts together. I bought a house. We bought a house together. We did all the things that a traditional family do together as two women at the time. So I really didn't care what nobody said, about us being married or not. We did it because that's what we wanted to do.
Right.
That didn't, even though it wasn't legal, it didn't change the dynamics of our relationship.
Right. But you were able, like you said, to set up your insurance and your life around your commitment to each other. And so I think that is amazing. Shouts out to Rochelle. She was congratulating you on the many years that you and Tanya were together. Shouts out to Levi. So I was going to say that I remember when it had to be around 2015-ish or 16-ish. I came back. I had moved away from Atlanta, and I was living in Virginia, and I came in town for one of my son's birthday, Shalonda's birthday, and I saw you. I hadn't seen you in a while since I had moved away, but we would see each other all the time, and always kind of stayed in each other's life. But I hadn't seen you, and I remember walking up to you and giving you this big hug, and you whispered, because you could see my reaction, and so I ran up to you, and I was like, and you hugged me, and you was like, Nick. and I was like, huh? You was like, because you could tell I was getting ready to say, oh, and you were like, Nick, in my ear. And I was like, okay. And you said, we'll talk about it later. And I said, okay. And I remember you explaining to me later on, and at the time I was with my significant other, and he was trying to figure out, why are you all up on this dude? Like, why are you like? And I was like, this is my brother. You'll figure it out later, whatever. Right. And so later on when we spoke, you said to me, you said, sis, I'm transitioning. Now the whole time I was receiving it. Of course, I was like, good, that's wonderful. And you were telling me about, the process you were going through and everything. And I was so receptive of all of it until you said, I have denounced my membership with Delta. I can no longer be a Delta. And I remember I boohoo cried. And you were like, are you crying in the middle of the party? Like, what are you doing? So tell us that story, tell everyone at that time where you were, because that's when it really dawned. That's when it hit me. That's when it really hit me. I mean, you were like, sis, I can't be a Delta with a beard.
I mean, listen, that's it. So for the very first, the first 3 years, probably more so 3 to 5, it was the hardest thing for me to do. For Founders Day to come up, for Convocation to come up, for all the things that that was near and dear that I fought so hard for. Right. The sisterhood that I fought so hard for, the Greek affiliations that I fought so hard for. It was very hard for me to walk away from it. I dreamt of it all my life from a little kid. You're right. And so, but the truth of the matter is this: I've made a decision to transition from female to male. I will never embarrass or do a disservice to my sisterhood by walking around with Delta paraphernalia, claiming Delta Sigma Theta, ooping, or anything else to embarrass the sisterhood. I have much respect. It's the hardest thing, and I can feel myself getting choked up thinking about it right now. I don't even talk about it anymore, as a matter of fact. Yeah. For the longest I always brought that subject matter up. I just kind of buried it. It's just difficult for me. I have so much respect for you beautiful ladies, my sisters. Y'all will always be my sisters. But it's just something, when you make a certain decision in life, you got to be ready for the consequences. And that was one of the major consequences that I had to be ready for. And I had to deal with it.
So let's talk about the decision to transition. Why not just remain and if I get the terminology wrong, please correct me, because it's about educating as well. Why not remain, I guess, a stud or a lesbian or whatever it is? Why not just remain there? Where did the decision come from? Did you just kind of wake up and say, you know what, I want to take this all the way?
It was a process, just like the journey, right, of transitioning. So it was, well, let me just say this for people who online that may not know how to differentiate between the two. So studs are dominant lesbians. So girls, typically they are dominant females who wear men clothes most times. That 90% of that's how we define studs. So yes, I was a stud. I was a dominant lesbian. From, you can kind of imagine, from being a tomboy, it was a perfect fit for me. It was a perfect fit for me. But I felt comfortable being, I had more male characteristics as it relates to how I dressed, how I act, even in my mental capacity of how I thought along those lines. Some of them was toxic masculinity, even as a stud, but I took on that role. And even in my family, while I was married, I took on the male role as a stud. Right. In our culture, in the gay and lesbian culture, we built things like most people here now, ballroom culture and house culture. Right. We had the house culture. So my ex-wife was the mother of the house. I was the father of the house. And hence my pronouns, they were everything, even as a dominant female, was boy. Nobody ever, it was odd. It's really weird now that I think about it, because people would say my name is Nicole or Nikki. That was my name, but they always call me bro or dad, right? That was affectionately. Right. And then my kids, it's crazy. My kids name me Nana. I don't know where they came up. They came up with it by themselves. That's what they wanted to call me. And they have called me that from that day on for the rest of their life. And my kids are I don't even get me 94 still. I think my kid is 29, Bree 29, D somewhere up at about 30, 37, 38. And they still call me that. I'm like, yo, y'all got to find another name than Nana at this point. But yeah, but yeah, so it was easy. It was an easy transition mentally. But what I fought with, well, let me say this. Going through those times, I've always worked straight out of college in corporate America. So I wore, I wore and I fast tracked through the management program. So I was client facing throughout most of my life in my career, which means that dominant lesbians are accepted in corporate America. That's not a problem, So it was pretty easy for me. As long as I performed, my productivity was well, which it was, I was good. But what happened is I had a girl closet, if you will, for my daytime corporate. And then I had a boy closet for my after 5 attire. And that literally went on for 10, 15 years. And at the end of my marriage, I was tired of having to intertwine my closet, if you will, or my life. And I really still didn't know that transgender men was a thing. But I was a club promoter here in Atlanta for over 10 years. And I got an opportunity to connect with the ballroom side of the LGBT community. I had a ball. I threw my first ball during Pride, and one of the guys who I knew was a stud. He had moved to New York, and he came back to participate in the ball. Well, when he came back, he looked like a man. He had a full beard, bald head, muscles, and I mean, I literally was like, wow, what is this and what happened? So I asked him, and he said, yeah, I'm trans now. And he gave me something, and I was like, really? And that was in 2007. And I immediately started researching what transgender men were, right?
Okay.
And did years of research, and I referenced that 2007 because I didn't actually start my transition until 2013.
Right.
So you see how many years it took. I carefully planned. I said at the beginning of this that my grandmother was my heart. So, and she was older by now, and she started deteriorating, if you will, life. And she was the most important person in my life. I did not want to disappoint her. I'm thinking in my head, Lord, Nick, you went home in 94 and you told the lady you was gay, and you came home with boys. Then, you told her you with girls, and now all of a sudden you're going to go back and tell this lady you a man, like, and she's 73 at this point, 73, 74. Like, and we're making a decision if we're going to put her in a nursing home for care. So that means it's really a sticky subject for me. So I dealt with that emotionally for years and years and years. But what happened is when I started seeing my career suffer, because I literally started going into the office with a girl shirt, men pants, and men's shoes, and my self-esteem was just blown. I felt like I wasn't productive. I wasn't a productive manager. I wasn't giving back to the people that I mentored, the people who reported to me. It just felt like it did. And my boss called me in one day. She was the VP of operations, and I was the regional customer service manager. And I had responsibility for over 450 people in the call center in Canada and North America. So I did a whole bunch of traveling, a whole bunch. And she just asked me, what's wrong? Like, something is wrong, and I can't put my finger on it, right? And I know I'm going through a divorce. I'm not myself, and I'm making some personal changes in my life. And I just had to make a decision then to figure out what I wanted to do. And it was at that point, after that conversation, that I knew that transitioning was what I needed to do for myself, because I no longer felt comfortable wearing any parts of girl clothes. I didn't feel comfortable in the skin that I was in. I felt after 5, I felt the most happiest. When I'm in my boy clothes, I felt the most happiest. For years, people will tell you, if you find pictures, I never smiled for years. I can remember the first time I took my my shot. I had the biggest smile on my face, and I hadn't stopped smiling from that day in 2013 now, like as it relates to looking at myself in the mirror. So, but what I want you and the audience to know, it was a transition in itself. You know, it took time for me to make sure that this is what I wanted to do. I needed to research what was hormone replacement therapy. You know, what happens, what's the side effects, you know, what's the consequences. One of the things that one of the things that I tell everybody they should do is go to a therapist first. And I remember, I'm going to tell you a story. I went to the therapist, and I had a big ego. I was the big time promoter. I was making money. I was married. I had kids. We had one of the biggest houses here in Atlanta, and all things was good for me. I had tons of money, you know, like life was good. Like I couldn't even phantom living the life that I lived as two lesbians and kids, right? But it was when I went to the and by the way, like I said, and my career was soaring. I was very young, very first person that was a regional manager over, you know, North America and Canadian business, right? And when I went to the therapist, first thing the therapist said, so he said, so what I want to tell you is to prepare your resume. So I sat back and I said, what do you mean prepare? What does this mean? He's like, I said, you know, basically, do you know who I am? I'm this, you know, for the last 5 years, I've been the top star, you know, in this, you know, I manage an EBITDA of 5 million plus, you know, with no deficit. We went through all of this conversation. He let me do all of that talking, and he sat back and said, I know what you think, but I'm telling you, as you get ready to transition, people who used to be close to you, people who used to love you aren't going to love you anymore. They aren't going to accept you the way that they used to accept you. You are going to be ostracized. You are going to feel left out. You're going to be emotionally broken down. And quite frankly, you're probably not going to be in the same role that you're in today. And can I tell you?
Did that happen?
I went through the process of, you know, I heard them, you know, I went through 4 or 5 sessions before I ever took my first, because that was a requirement. It's a suggestion and a recommendation, but it's for me, it was a requirement, because before I started anything, I needed to know what I was doing. And even at that time when he said it to me, I walked away thinking, yeah, right. You know, it was a yeah, right for me. And I went through.
So you didn't believe, you didn't necessarily believe that it would be, you would have those ramifications or the challenges that the therapist mentioned. You didn't believe, you were in denial?
I don't think that I was in denial. I just don't think that I knew that to be true. I thought that I was the best thing since sliced bread, basically. You know what I mean? I thought, seriously, I was the best thing since sliced bread. Like I thought that my productivity and my team and all of the accolades that I had gained in this role that I was in for 10 years, that there was no way that I could be replaced. For no reason. We know that Georgia is a for cause state. You know, you can terminate people for anything at this point. But I still didn't think it was going to happen. It was just one of those things that I didn't think it would happen to me. I think that's what it was.
Wow. And so the outcome was exactly what the therapist said. Were you actually fired from your position?
So it's funny. No, I was laid off, but so really quickly how it worked. I had an office, of course. And my name tag said Nicole Coleman. And when I there you go, at Will State. I said 4 calls, at Will State. Thank you. But I went in, I talked, because I reported directly up to my VP. So I went into the office, I talked to my VP. He was a white guy. And I told him, you know, what was getting ready to happen. And he literally was shocked, but he had a look on his face like, okay, yep, okay. And basically I went in and said, this is what's going to happen. You know, eventually I'm going to start taking hormone replacement therapy, which is going to change my look, my voice, potentially my body. And I will start transitioning from female to male, which means I'll start wearing male clothes. You know, I went through the whole gamut, told them I was going through a therapist. I'll go through my name change. When I get my name changed, at that point is when I think that we should work on communications to the team, you know, and everybody. And he said, yep. He didn't ask a lot of questions. He agreed. Okay. Well, about within 30 days, I was able to get my name changed. But in the moment, I'm telling you, there's milestones in transition. One of the very first things I think, I took my first shot and I filed for my name change. The minute you get your name change, I promise you feel like a brand new person, like it's a rebirth for us.
Really?
Immediately, our dead name, what we refer to as our dead name, and a lot of people aren't willing to say what their dead name. And a lot in this conversation, we've talked a lot about me being Nicole and Nikki. I am transparent. I don't have any issues with that. But what won't happen is at this point, you won't call me Nicole or Nikki, right? But if we were talking and having this conversation, I don't mind referencing my dead name. That is a dead name. I don't have it. I don't refer to it. I don't know anything about it. That's in my past.
Right.
Okay?
So your license, everything, all of your identity is Nick Devereux.
Nick Devereux Coleman, not just my name change in the federal and superior court of Fulton County. You can look it up. My social security card was next. We keep the same social security number. You change your name, and then your driver's license. On your driver's license, I transitioned 10 years ago, so I believe it may still be the same. You cannot change your gender marker from female to male until you have a SRS, which is a sex reassignment surgery. It's either top surgery or bottom surgery. I'll talk about that in a second. So my license, I didn't care. A lot of people feel like, oh, they feel like you look male, but you still have F on your license. I didn't care. I just wanted my license to say Nick Devereux Coleman. So for the first 5 years, my license said Nick Devereux Coleman. It had an F for my gender marker. Nobody ever looked at that. I traveled extensively. Nobody ever paid that any attention. Nobody looked at it. I was fine. But the next milestone for me was when I was able to get my top surgery. And I got my top surgery. For people that don't know, it's getting my breasts removed. Yes. The reason why my shirts are open. Good job. Good job. That is exactly. So that was the day for me that I seriously walked in my transition and never turned back. Like, this is it. This is my star moment for me.
So let me ask you this question. Do the hormones hurt? Does the transition hurt? Like when you start growing
I just
hair?
want you to know I'm proud of it. Thank you.
Say it again.
Yeah. So I said I'm proud of that picture. Thank you.
Oh yeah, the picture. Okay, yes.
So
absolutely.
Yes.
Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. It's a shot. We take a shot. You either take it once a week, once every 2 weeks.
No, not the actual shot. Does the process hurt?
No, the process is you take testosterone shots, and you should go to the doctor at least every 3 months so that you can get your blood work done to make sure that your levels are proper, because you are going through a full body transition,
right.
For those who still have a uterus, all of those things, you've got to just make sure that you're balanced.
Right.
So no.
So what about the
none
top?
Of it hurt.
What about when you had the top surgery? When you had that procedure done, was that painful?
So yes and no. I was put to sleep. Right. I was put to sleep. So what's up, cuz? So I was put to sleep and on anesthesia. So I didn't know. I had brains. And for 4 to 8 weeks is how long you had to stay out. That very first picture you saw. I think they may, if you didn't see drains, they may have already taken them out. Post-op, they take your drains out in 1 week, and you really just can't. They basically recommend you not to go back to work for 8 weeks. So I can tell you now though, yeah, I was healed up in about 4 weeks. And when I say healed up, I felt pretty good with my scars or whatever, with my drains out. So none of it, probably the first 3 days, it probably was painful with your skin pulling back to its capacity and getting used to, being flat instead of, heavy. And no joke, I was heavy. I was very heavy set in my chest. So there was a lot had to go. I'm the happiest man ever. But no, it doesn't hurt outside of just the first, I would say week before post-op.
Do you plan to do the bottom as well?
So here's the thing. If I had 100% assurance of two things, no complications, which we know nobody can even any surgery, you can't say that, but more so than that, if I could get the package that I wanted, then I absolutely would do it. But size matters. And because I can buy them out the store, or get me a real prosthetic made, I'm gonna pass on the bottom surgery. All right, because I need to be able to pack what I want to pack. And
size matters.
Yeah, size matters, man. And I'm good on not getting the size, and your size ain't guaranteed. And the last part I'll tell you is I'm a real pretty boy. For those who haven't figured it out, part of the procedure requires them to do skin grafting on the inside of your arm or the inside of your leg, and it looked like basically to me it looks like more of a burn patient, and I don't want that scar. That's not the scar I want. Right. So I'm gonna opt out on the bottom surgery and just go ahead and buy what I need.
So because you look good, okay? You look good. Have you ever passed and went out with a woman that didn't know that you were trans?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I don't know if I'm rare or not. I do not believe in that. I believe, and people say I talk too much, I tell too much of my business, but that's who I am. It's who I've always been. I believe in full disclosure from the gate, out the door. And because this was my most recent relationship, and you may or may not was going to talk about it, but I'll just tell you real quick. Her and I laugh all the time because she says, on our very first date, I opened my phone with my pictures and showed her my anatomy. I'm like, this is what I got between my legs. But I call it my dick. That's what I told her. All right.
Okay.
So I want you to relate to this is my dick. Okay. But so yeah, out the gate. Listen, out the gate, it was very clear that we had some sexual chemistry going on. It was chemistry there. And I wanted her to be clear, I look just like this. Yes, my chest looked like this, but there is a little different dynamic between my legs. Okay. And I just need you to be aware of that, right? And I also pack whatever size you need, but yeah, I believe in full disclosure. Now, I mean,
did you say whatever size you need?
Whatever size. She laughed. She used to say I had 12, but I got the size you need, baby. Whatever you need to satisfy, I got it. But yeah, I believe in full disclosure, even if it's not. I'll tell you, everything ain't about anatomy, but that was really a true story that I wanted to tell. So no, I don't go straight for what's between my legs. I think it's quite disrespectful for people to even ask. You know what I'm saying? I want to be clear. Let me tell you, don't ask me. Okay. But as it relates to meeting new women, dating new women, having an attraction for a woman, after that first attraction, and I see that it's equally yoked, I'm definitely going to have a conversation that I'm trans. The hardest thing in Atlanta is everybody know I'm trans. I do these type of things all the time. I've been on MTV. I've been on Bravo. I'm part of this new reality TV. I was very popular in Fort Lauderdale at Bethune-Cookman. It's hard for me to hide. But even with all of those things said, if I ever ran into somebody who I was attracted to and equally attracted to me, we are definitely going to have that conversation. So I'll give you an opportunity to take that out now.
That's right. That's right. So Levi asked earlier, what restroom do you use?
I'm a man. I don't know what I'm a man. I use the men's restroom, and I stand up and I piss in a urinal. I piss in a urinal. That's what I do.
Yeah. Man, what? I'm sorry. What? What did you just say?
I said I use the men's. I mean, do y'all really think? Let's talk about it.
I'm sorry. That caught me off guard. How in the hell?
Let's talk about it. What do y'all
are using it?
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat it for you.
Yeah, for real. No joke. I'm dead serious. How the hell do you pull that off?
How can he not?
I don't know if this is if this is X-rated. If I can say some of the things, but I gotta
say whatever you want.
Don't get scared on here.
Okay. I'm just saying. I stand up. So let me share this with you. One of the side effects and what we call benefits of transitioning, mostly, there's a dynamic between your legs that grow longer than normal. So the normal clitoris generally grows anywhere from 3 to 6 inches.
Right.
Okay. Hence, some boys are blessed even more. So because it protrudes out, you can stand up and use the urinal. That's where the piss come from, right? So you can stand up and use the urinal, or you can stand up in the bathroom. There ain't no way you're gonna ever catch me in a men's restroom squatting. Never.
Okay.
Never.
Wow.
But I will put you on game and be 100% transparent and tell you we also have this thing. It's called a P cup. Look it up on Amazon. Women use this oftentimes that are in the flight industry. What they do is when they can't go to the restroom or they got to stand up, they're moving a lot. It's a P cup. I wish I knew you were gonna ask me that. I would have showed it to you.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
I need to see that.
Oh, actually, hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I want to see the P, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Just that when you said that,
it's all about education.
So off guard, I was like, wait a minute, what?
There is never a dumb question. There is never an odd question. That's why the show is called Let's Talk About It. And so Robin said, Major woke up finally.
Yo, I mean, I'm DiDi. I'm sitting back here, and I tell you, I've learned so much today. I have literally learned. Levi, you a fool for that.
Right. Levi said he thought you were asleep too. Exactly. Yeah. Nick woke him up. Okay, now what is this, Nick?
I'm gonna give you the full screen. I want to see this.
Yes, please do.
So this is a P cup. This is a P cup. You stand up. This goes between your legs where your clitoris would sit, like this, and this stay in the urinal.
Okay.
Of course, it's in my pants. When I do use it, it's in my pants. So you would say, well, if I'm standing next to you, well, one, a nigga shouldn't be looking across the urinal to see what I'm packing anyway. But we know some of them.
They do.
I just said, but we know that some of them do. So you have this in your pants, and just to be clear, all of this is covered up, and you literally only, if you had to really see something, you will see about that much of it. Okay.
Oh, so it's hidden. Okay. Yeah, and so that's something that you would wear. You would wear that.
So I don't wear it because it's plastic. So if I go to a club, if I go, wherever, it really does travel with me. Most times it's in my car, and my ex would die because she always say, "This is so nasty. I can't believe you pissed on the side of the road, and left and put it back in the car." Yeah, I wiped this motherfucker off and put it in the car. Shit. So when I gotta use the bathroom again. But I can do what you gotta do. I want to be clear. There is 2 options. A lot of guys are blessed where we can stand up, and it depends how the urinals are. There's some tall ones, there's some short ones. It would look. I hate the short ones because it's really awkward if you're standing up, pissing over it, like you're standing over it, right? So, but it's options. We can do both. Trans guys can do both. You can stand up, or you can use this object.
Okay, so I've been asked before, in conversation, when a trans man holds themselves, and you're answering the question because you're saying that it's something there for you to hold. You got something. So on the pictures, if someone sees a picture of a trans man and you're actually holding yourself, you're cupping yourself. Do we have a picture of what I'm referencing? Major. Oh, he about to go to get a picture. A Major probably has one, I'm sure, of you just holding yourself. You know how a man holds himself, you know?
Oh, hold their like the nuts.
Yes, you know, just the pose of standing there,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
every man gotta hold their, yeah, we gotta hold them every now and again.
Exactly. Right. That's a perfect picture. That's a perfect picture.
I'm gonna zoom in on the part that we're referencing. Yeah, because I mean, every man I think I know has done that, including myself, DiDi.
And so I've heard the question, you know, the questioning from men saying, what is a trans man holding? And so Nick clarified that in this discussion tonight. If you had any questions about that, guys, he answered it for you.
Well, actually, so there's a couple different things too. So we also, because I want to educate completely in my pants, besides my natural, what I call my natural, besides.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let me give you the full screen one more time because
the full
we
screen.
need to see. Okay,
education. Understand this, y'all.
Okay.
That's
a call to pack. I have never heard of anything like this.
This is a packer, and we wear this oftentimes. You see, it's flaccid, right? So it's just, you know, so it's real easy. You put it in our boxer
shorts. That's a nice size too.
A brief.
Is it now? Well.
What we don't, I mean, you can't do anything. You can't. So we call some things pack and play. This is not a pack and play, which means that you can't use this to have sexual intercourse.
Oh man.
I mean, DiDi, don't get hard. You see that?
Okay.
Don't get hard.
I mean,
I'm not going to show you the ones that I'm definitely not. I don't think y'all ready for the next level yet. But this.
Okay, let me ask you this: does that come in different colors?
It does.
Does it come in? It does come in different colors. For so for our Caucasian people, you know, trans, or it comes in different.
It come in, you know, the Caucasian white, and then the tans and different light up spectrums, different spectrums. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Robin's so stupid. Please stop showing Robin. Robin done passed out, left the show, came back.
Yeah.
Where's my quiet Nick? She wants you to be so quiet and shy, but you have transitioned in more ways than one.
Yeah, man, listen. I want people to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I also want to put a plug in for some of my brothers that don't believe in wearing Packers. This isn't for everybody. You know, there's different variations of trans guys. You know, some wear Packers, some don't wear Packers. You know, some wear the full pack and play, so we can get down. And to be honest, if I know I'm gonna get down that night, I go to the club, I'm gonna wear my full thing. So when I get home, I'm ready.
So it's a full shebang. It's ready.
It's a whole thing. I'm ready. Me and my lady go out and we come home. I'm drunk and I'm feeling good. We about to get it in. Yes.
And they come in different sizes too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you wear one that may be a little bit bigger than another one, or do you have one like this a favorite?
I have a transparency. I typically wear a 7-inch flex. And that means I can use it for sex as well. It's not as flaccid as the one that I just showed you. Okay. It does have some flexibility, but it literally stands up. So when I take my pants down and I'm ready, it's standing straight up. So I'm ready to go for the gusto. When I just want to play around and just want to have a print, if you will, I don't put no socks in my shit. What you get, you know. And then if the big boy, I ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah.
Yes, I love it all. Educational, entertaining, engaging. Let's talk about it. So we want you to call your friends, call your family, tell them you don't want to ever miss one of these shows, because we're going to bring it to you straight, no chaser. Now let's go into this new reality show that you have before you leave us. Talk about TRANSWorld and what we can expect.
Yeah, appreciate that. So I got a chance to be a part of an amazing cast. It's called TRANSWorld Atlanta. It's the new reality series, docu-series about the life of trans men and their significant others. So we have one of our cast members, yeah, keep that up for me. So we have a trans guy and a non-binary person that are together. They had a baby together. So, and it's unorthodox, if you will. It's like taboo, unheard. But this is an opportunity for you guys, society to really educate themselves, okay, around
so wait a minute,
what it means to be
on what is a non-binary person. What does that mean?
Non-binary is they don't have they share a love and embrace both their femininity and their masculine side. So they don't want to be defined as a he or a she. They're literally non-binary, and they can go either way in terms of male or female. So and I think the closest I can probably make you understand it is it equates to kind of being what we would relate to as queer, a queer person. So you just see a queer person. So yeah, so the guy with the black hat on, he's a trans guy. He's an A part in the story because this is about trans guys, right? So he's the A story. That's his partner, Alfonso. As you see, that's my good sister. I call her sister most of the time, but she is non-binary. He was born a biological male, but he has both queer, female, and he embraces both his male and his female side. So he goes by non-binary. He associates himself as non-binary. They both, which means that the one in the hat was pregnant as a trans guy, and they have a beautiful baby boy who just turned 1. You've got to tune into TRANSWorld to hear his story. I'm gonna jump over to the people in the middle.
Trans guy is the one who carried the baby.
Yep, and the baby he carried was from his non-binary partner, which is Alfonso.
Okay, so the one in the hat carried the baby. Gotcha.
Okay,
that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Okay. And the couple in the middle with the white on, he is, and by the way, his name with the hat on is J-Mo. His partner name is Alfonso. The guy in the middle with the white jacket on, his name is Malik. He is a trans guy like myself as well. He's an A part in this story, so you'll get an opportunity to hear more about his story. That is his significant other, the young lady in the white dress, and she is a trans woman. She's identified as a trans woman for, oh my gosh, I can't tell you exactly how long, but it's been literally over 20 years. So they'll tell their story about how they got together and what it's like to be a trans couple. The people on the right hand side with the black on, his name is Sean Jackson, and he is a trans guy. That is his wife next to him. They've been married for 20 years. She is a biological or cis female. We use both terms, but just for purposes of this crowd, she's a biological female. And I don't want to tell her story, but they have been together for 20 years. Sean has transitioned for about 15 years. So here's the thing. Tune in to hear their story, but they got together before he started transitioning. And she identified before they got together as a straight woman, and she identifies now still as a straight woman because that's her man. But again, you'll hear the story.
Oh wow! Now, where can we catch this? Where can we see the show?
So TRANSWorld has been picked up by Amazon Prime, Tubi, Free Movies Plus, and 2 or 3 other streaming networks. The deal with them is they don't tell us the date until about a week before it's actually going to launch. So what we expect is that it should be launching sometime. I would think late fall, maybe September, October. Follow us again on our YouTube at TRANSWorld Atlanta or our IG TRANSWorld ATL to keep up, or you can follow me on I am Nick Devereux IG or my Facebook page, Nick Devereux. And I promise you, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss this episode. We already about to start taping season 2. So I'm telling you, when season 1 come out, you're gonna be thirsty for season 2.
I'm really excited. And before you go, will there be a book about your life, or how do you feel even about a movie?
I've been approached with a lot of those things, and I think I've just kind of fell in the background, and I've just allowed people to ask me to do things, and I've not really aggressively done it because I'm really an introvert. Really, home is where I love. Home, traveling, and shopping. That's what I love, and all of those things I love to do by myself. I can do those things by myself all the time. So all that said, I've been approached about a book. I've been approached about my life, and this is TRANSWorld. Will give you a little bit about life. It was, and I'll just give you a little bit. My life was completely in turmoil during that time because me and my fiance was together. We were supposed to be on it together. She decided not to do it. And then now, 3.5 years later, we aren't together. I'm not okay with that, but it's life, right? I'm not okay with it, but it's life, and I'll be okay with it. Because what I'm saying is I'm not okay with it because who thought after 3.5 years and you get engaged that the end would be you go your separate ways. So So I don't know what's in store. What I've leaned on as I leave this is the Holy Spirit and my faith and my spirituality, my spirituality as it relates to listening, being still, and listening to what God has really truly destined for me, and not trying to make the path myself or not asking him for my will. In all of these things now over the last year, I've strategically asked God for his will to be done, even if I'm not going to be okay. So that's why
I love that. I love that, my friend. Oh my goodness. This was amazing. It was awesome. Awesome. It was fulfilling. I am speechless because you shared parts of you that many people have never done with us. You have educated us, you have entertained us, and you have enlightened us. And I am just so grateful for you. And I am just so proud to call you my friend. My friend.
I appreciate you, sis. This is good. I know that it's been a long time coming. I appreciate you even thinking about me out the gate when you thought of your podcast. I'm humbled to be a part of this. This podcast that you're doing. You and Major are doing big things. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that tuned in to listen. Hopefully they can do a replay on this where they can go. I did share it to my page, but sis, I love you. Four flat tires, baby. Rolling. So I appreciate you mostly giving me to get your audience to really be educated on because it's too many uneducated and just asinine things out here that people are saying about trans people that's just not true. I really want to leave you guys with saying that for real. We pump the same blood and we're human. We don't want anything different than anybody else. I don't know about anybody else, but what I will tell you is all I want you to do is respect me and I will respect you. That's it. That's all I require. You don't have to believe in what I believe. You don't have to like what I like. I'm not going to invade your territory. As a newly single guy, I have no interest in dating anybody. None of that. It'll take me some time. I don't have no, that's not my focus right now. My focus is on me and leveraging what's next for Nick Devereux, for real. That's it for me.
Absolutely. It's going to get better and better from here. The best is yet to come for you, my friend. And my prayer for you is that God will give you all the things your heart's desire. And I am a firm believer that judge ye not. I don't have a heaven or hell to put not nan person in. And so I believe that everyone should be, if you're not hurting someone, a child, a person, if you're not taking any way a loved one from me, you should be able to live the life that you desire to live. And whatever that relationship is between you and your God, let that be. I am a firm believer that everybody should be able to live their own life. That's just the way I feel. So
yo, I want to piggyback on that, DiDi, because my saying is always, especially when it comes to like the LGBTQ or anybody that's just different from me, man, I always say if it's progressive and consensual, do your thing. I really don't have no, you know what I'm saying? Like if as long as it's progressive and consensual, you got my support. So
that's right.
Respect. Thank you for coming on, Nick, and sharing the story. I'm blown away. I am blown away.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate that, and just y'all, so much gratitude to both of you all for a phenomenal show. Phenomenal platform to let me speak my truth and my transparency. I'm just grateful, eternally grateful. Absolutely. Thank you, sis.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nick. I'll talk to you later.
All righty.
Woo! My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. My goodness. What a show. We went way over time.
No, but it was worth it though.
But it was so worth it.
It's so worth it.
I
feel like we were gonna go over on one of the shows. This was the show to do it on, DiDi.
Absolutely. We could have definitely been filled with Nick and more information and education for hours to come. Like we could have done more hours with him because he just provides so much knowledge. And clarity, which is, all of those questions that people have had over the years of, well, how do they do this? And how do they do that? I mean, shouts out to Deborah and Bria for watching, but really quick, Major, we got to talk about this. It's time for our new segment, I Hate the Net.
Yeah, DiDi, and I got to be honest, I'm starting to hate the internet too. I'll tell you what, let's just jump right on into I Hate the Net because
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So as I mentioned earlier before the show started, Carly Russell, the 25-year-old who appeared in Birmingham, Alabama, after calling 911 and claiming that she saw a toddler on the side of the road. Well, she reappeared a couple of days ago at her parents' home. And then it came out through her attorney, when was that, on Monday, that it was all a hoax. It was all a hoax.
Yeah.
So I am just...
Carly is going down. I gotta be honest, man. When I first heard the story, I was just like, man, not another person, not another Black woman, not another child. Like, your initial knee-jerk reaction.
Exactly.
And then as the story started unfolding, DiDi, I was just blown away, man. I mean, we got, they said she disappeared. She pulled over on the side of the road and saw a toddler. We actually have the 911 call up here. If you want to hear it, we can play some of it. You want to hear a little bit of it?
Yeah, let me hear what is this the part of the I Hate the Net, because the net went absolutely
they went bananas. So here we're not gonna play the whole call, but we're gonna hear some of her call.
Let's hear what some of the net is saying.
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves.
Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Met, like to get off by the Hoover Met.
Okay, so you're before that exit?
Yes.
Okay, and were you...
So right there, DiDi, already she sounded like she's lying to me. Okay, I don't know. Now, women, in my opinion, are excellent liars, much more so than men. But
I just don't understand why, though. My whole because at the end of the day, when what they said, the reason behind it was because she wanted to get the attention of her ex-boyfriend. He had broken up with her, and so she was trying to get his attention. Now, I did hear that she was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and so I'm sure she had a lot of friends too. Where were her pull-up partners? Did not one person say, girl, okay, we can do some of it, but we can't call the police? Like, calling the police should have been off limits, period. See, that's the difference. I think, no shade to my Divine Nine sisters, but baby, that couldn't have been a Ruby. Okay. My Sans, my line sisters, we come up with some good stuff. We would have had a whole, a whole conference call on how we gonna strategize to get the attention of my ex if that was the case. Like we would have come up with it would have been a whole plan with blueprints, actors and actresses, and all of that. So I'm just, I'm slightly disappointed in her. And I believe that she is going to probably get she's going to probably get some time. I think they're going to, maybe give her some probation time or something like that, because that was a false report. So
I mean, yeah, and so when you say that, like how you say you and your girls would have got together and put the whole story together, and that's the difference between men and women. See, a man will tell a lie and have no backup plan and this, that, and the other. A woman will tell a lie and she'll have everybody in. They all have a script. And the whole
we would have had the back. My girlfriend Monique is on here. I would have had my boy, my godson Jeffrey. We would have been like, okay, Monique, have Jeffrey run halfway up, and then we'll go and get, like, we would have had a whole plan, because we good at that.
Yeah, she wasn't good. And then the crazy thing is she started Google searching, right? So she was going to do the plan all by herself. The first thing that they say she searched up was, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?
Oh, like, come on, man. Do you have to pay for an Amber Alert?
Yeah, and then she wanted to know what the maximum age of an Amber Alert was, DiDi. So now you see the story unfolding, right? So apparently they said that the police said there was never, ever a toddler. There was never a toddler.
Of course not. No.
Yeah. And it was a white toddler. She said it was a white toddler with no pants on.
And she said she was kidnapped by a white man with orange hair.
Right.
But then she stopped by Target and picked up some snacks. It was just all wrong. It was just all wrong. And again, it's very unfortunate. Let me tell you why I have a problem with this cry wolf syndrome, because there's over 30,000 missing people of color in the US, and half of those people are women of color, are us, Black women. And so it definitely waters down the need for them, for us to have the search for us when we're missing, seriously, because of this kind of cry wolf syndrome. I'm so mad at her. And you do know the guy she didn't get him back. He has totally distanced himself from her. So that plan failed totally.
Yeah, I mean, she was stealing money out the register, apparently. She was trying to figure out how to steal money from register without being caught. Like, this was ridiculous. And then a one-way ticket to Birmingham to Nashville. She was going to start her new life, DiDi. She was going to start her new life.
And her poor family, her mom and dad, just all wrong, Carla, just all wrong. So, oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad she is back. I can't say that. But I am definitely sending up prayers for her and her family, and her ex and everybody, because nobody wins. Nobody is winning in this. This was not good. Yeah. But I know we won. I can say we won tonight with this show. Shouts out again to Nick Devereux for coming by and schooling us on all things trans man. What a show tonight. We are so grateful for you all for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have a chance, make sure that you check us out on all of your streaming platforms. Everywhere you get your podcast, we are there as well. So check us out, and be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at DiDi Skky. Major, tell them how they can check you out.
Yeah, if any of you are daring or bold or courageous enough, you can hang out with me at Design by Major on all social media platforms, and we're gonna hang out. I want to thank you all for tuning in to this extra long, phenomenal episode. It really, yes.
It was all worth it. It was all worth it. Thank you guys again. And before I go, you know what I say, go for your goals, reach for the stars, because the sky has no limit. I'll see you next time. Bye.